Welcome back to day 8 of our React journey. I am so pumped for today's explainer because we're jumping right into the absolute core of modern web development. Today, we're going to unpack exactly how modern user interfaces actually remember your actions, retain your data, and basically just feel instantly responsive.
But before we even think about writing a single line of code today, we really got to ask ourselves a fundamental question. How do our applications actually hold on to user data across all those different interactions? Think about it. When you type a message into a chat box or click a button to open a menu, how on earth does the app know to keep that menu open or remember the exact text you just typed while a dozen other things are happening in the background?
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll be looking at the shift from classes to functional components, introducing React hooks, diving into local state with useState, building a dark mode toggle, comparing React to its alternatives, and finally wrapping up with state management in 2026. All right, let's get into it.
Starting right off with Section 1, Classes to Functional Components. We are looking at a massive paradigm shift in how React components are actually built.
Historically, building complex React apps meant relying on these really bulky class components. They required heavy boilerplate code, super complex lifecycle methods, and let's be honest, dealing with the tricky this keyword binding in JavaScript, yeah, that's caused developers way more sleepless nights than coffee. But modern development totally favors functional components. Why? Simply because they're just clean, plain JavaScript functions that return JSX. They're highly modular, they're significantly easier to read, and honestly, a breeze to debug. I mean, at the end of the day, you're literally just writing functions.
Moving right along to Section 2, Introducing React hooks. Now, this evolution brings up a pretty massive technical challenge, because if functional components are literally just plain JavaScript functions, how exactly do they handle complex application logic and memory?
Well, this is exactly where React hooks swoop in to save the day. Introduced a few years ago, hooks completely revolutionized how we write React. They act as this brilliant bridge. Basically, hooks are special functions that allow you to literally hook into React's internal state and lifecycle features directly from a functional component. No classes needed. They give your simple, clean functions the exact same horsepower as those heavy classes, but with vastly cleaner, way more intuitive code.
Which brings us to Section 3, Local State with useState. Out of all the hooks available out there, the most fundamental one, the one you are going to reach for every single day as a React developer, is absolutely the useState hook.
So the crucial thing here is really understanding what state actually is. I like to think of state as your app's short-term memory. It remembers things dynamically as the user interacts with the page. So whether a user's typed input is just sitting there in a form field, or whether a pop-up modal is currently open or closed, or even if a specific button was just clicked a second ago, that is all state. And the magic happens when the state changes because React automatically updates the screen to instantly match that newly updated memory.
Let's look at Section 4, Building a Dark Mode. It's time to ground all this theory in a highly practical example, something you'll actually be building in today's coursework, a functional dark mode toggle. Implementing this modern feature takes just 3 remarkably simple steps using our new hook. First up, you declare your initial state. You literally just write const mode and set mode equals useState passing in light. Boom. This gives you a variable for the current mode and a function to instantly change it. Step 2, you write a quick toggle function to just flip that state from light over to dark. And finally, Step 3, you update your UI by feeding this state directly into your styling, like using Tailwind CSS classes, for instance. It brilliantly illustrates just how effortlessly React connects a user's click to an immediate, totally dynamic visual update. All right, on to Section 5, Comparing React to Alternatives. Now that you deeply understand React's local state and its virtual DOM approach, it's super crucial we remain objective and look at how the rest of the front-end world is handling interactivity in 2026.
What's genuinely fascinating here is just the sheer diversity of the modern landscape. If we impartially look at the options, React, as we know, uses a virtual DOM and useState for highly flexible UI composition. But then look at HTMX. It extends pure HTML with attributes like hxPost, meaning you can actually build interactive apps with virtually zero client-side JavaScript. Mind-blowing, right? Then you have Svelte, which acts as a compiler to strip away framework overhead entirely, giving you these tiny bundle sizes. Solid.js takes a completely different route, utilizing signals to target and update specific DOM nodes incredibly fast. And Quick is pushing the boundaries with non-hydration, aiming for literal instant load times.
Let's pivot slightly to another major alternative to really build out this picture: web components.
Standard web components, especially when they're streamlined by lightweight libraries like lit, offer a fundamentally different mental model. While React relies heavily on JSX and virtual DOM diffing, web components use the browser's native APIs. They utilize what's called the shadow DOM to deeply encapsulate styles and markup, providing a totally framework-agnostic alternative. This means a web component you build today can literally be dropped directly into any application regardless of what framework they happen to be using.
And speaking of pushing performance boundaries, we really have to highlight Quick's resumability. You see, traditional frameworks use hydration, which basically means downloading and executing a ton of JavaScript just to make a page interactive after it loads. It's heavy. Quick eliminates this heavy step entirely. Instead, it pauses the application state on the server, serializes it, and then instantly resumes it on the client. It's a wildly fascinating approach that results in near-zero initial JavaScript execution, making apps blazingly fast, especially when you're on a mobile device.
Now for our final section, Section 6, State Management in 2026. With all of these wildly diverse tools and architectures available, how are developers actually managing data out in the real world?
Well, the overriding trend right now is definitely simplicity first. Gone are the days of stuffing every single piece of data into a massive, complex global store. Today, you keep state local by default, just using useState right there in the component that actually needs it. You really only reach for global state when it's strictly necessary, like for user authentication. But the biggest shift? We now heavily prioritize server state. Modern tools automatically handle the heavy lifting of fetching, caching, and revalidating data from the backend for us. This drastically reduces boilerplate code and automatically optimizes performance by preventing those annoying, unnecessary re-renders. Which brings us to a pretty fascinating place to wrap up today's explainer. As you sit down and experiment with your useState dark mode toggle today, I want you to step back and consider this bigger picture. With the incredible rise of fine-grained signals, compiler-based frameworks, and these zero hydration architectures, is React's virtual DOM the final destination for web development? Or is it just a massive, incredibly important stepping stone in a much, much larger evolution? I'm going to let you ponder that one as you write your code. Enjoy day 8 and happy coding.